You are now tuned into Queen Tone, a podcast where all women, especially Black women, are invited to share their thoughts, opinions, and experiences with the world without being asked to check their tone. This is a space where we cut through the noise with truth, humor, and empathy while remaining uncensored and unapologetic. Listen as we share our journey navigating life as high-achieving, ambitious millennial Black women, attempting not to lose our shit in the current day. I'm Dayna, your fave Capricorn's favorite Capricorn, who's a Detroit-bred audio tech extraordinaire with a love for setting a vibe, a perfectly curated playlist, and everything Black.
And I'm Nina. Some people call me a visionary. Some people call me a truth teller. I just call myself an Aquarius. Either way, I'm a planner with a purpose, and together we bring the real, straight, no chaser. This is Queen Tone, and our mics are now on.
Act like we never left.
Right. Can you believe it's March?
I can believe it's March because shit is getting crazy. But today's the first day of sunshine.
And it's lighter. Yeah, it's lighter, a little bit longer.
Yeah.
It's warm. If you can see, that's why I look like this. The temperature went up.
Warm.
You know I run hot.
Dayna is anything over 50 degrees. For the rest of us, it's still cold.
I know she has a heater on over there in Chicago.
Yes, that she made me turn off for the recording.
Yeah, and I have one as
yes. How
what's legally required.
Well, I mean,
what's legally
New York? What's legally required?
What's legally required? Yeah.
Or she be butt bookie ass Nikki.
Yeah. What is the weather? It's 60 something here, 50. I think at the daytime it was.
Has the snow melted? Has the dirty snow melted?
Yes, and it has revealed in ridiculous amount of dog shit because people thought that because their dogs were in the snow, but snow is just water, so it melts. It doesn't break down the particles of shit. So yes.
They didn't know.
Was this the first winter that they had dogs, or? But yeah.
Yeah.
But it's warm.
Anyway.
That means spring is coming.
Finally. I mean, the world might end, but spring is coming.
The flowers are still gonna bloom. It'll just be towards the end.
Sure, unless we have a nuclear war. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's warmed up over here in Chicago too. There's definitely way more white people jogging outside, which means that the earth is starting to repair itself. And spring is coming.
Well, they run all the time. That weather don't really.
They do, but I will say, Chicago in winter don't nobody be outside, as soon as it gets warm, then you see everybody outside. So when I saw people on their bikes and jogging, I was like, oh, we got a break. Yeah, and people are gonna be outside.
I guess that is the one. Since this is very New York, Brooklyn is walkable. It's like it can be cold and people are just bundled up.
They don't have no.
Yeah, it's like whatever. Outside. It's lively whether it's 20 degrees or 80.
I feel like Chicago's kind of dead in the winter.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like summertime shy goes hard. I feel like
summertime shy. It really does.
DC summer, Detroit summer, Chicago summer. Yeah. It's like I'm leaving here with something.
Yeah,
I'm getting all my summer's worth.
Something.
Yes,
that's how we get through the winter.
Yeah.
That's how we get through the winter. Yeah.
That made me think of, are you caught up on Paradise?
I am caught up on Paradise. Oh my God, season 2 is so good.
What's his name? Dan Fogel. He's the creator of This Is Us. Mm-hmm. He has a pattern of really being able to make me cry in a lot of episodes. Like,
you cried already?
Yes.
Oh, well,
Annie's episode?
Yeah, sorry, the last one. Yeah, I forgot.
No, actually, the two. Annie's episode when she hugged Link for the first time and you start realizing this was her first interaction with people, like the first time she touched another human being in 2 years, and just like the reintroduction of that was emotional, and then the most recent episode, I won't spoil it, but I just wasn't.
No, that was sad. I was shocked.
I wasn't expecting that, and then when you realize she was expecting that because she knows
she wrote that letter.
No, because she's a doctor.
Oh, sorry. Because she wrote the letter.
No.
Yeah, she thought she might die.
Yeah.
He spoiled it. Oh well.
Yeah. Plot twist.
I
Yeah.
don't know what to tell you.
We can go there now. She knew. I feel like when she looked at her feet and they were swollen, she was taking her heart rate. She knew she was going to have preeclampsia, and she knew they didn't have anything there to stop it. Exactly. That's why she was like, "Yeah, I know this is happening."
Yep.
But yeah,
that
so
was sad. But I turned stuff on mute because I'm a scaredy cat.
Oh.
So that whole scene, I wasn't listening because it was gonna be way too intense.
Now I did fast forward when Sterling when he left her to go find people. And I was like,
yes. I thought he was gonna die.
Yeah, but I was like, he the main, he can't. But yeah, so I did fast forward, and then when I realized nothing bad happened, then I backtracked in and watched it.
Okay.
But
yeah, I love multi-dimensional time travel.
Oh yeah.
Shit,
I feel like that's when we
y'all added some time travel shit. Oh, I got
sign me up. Sign me up
on theories. I think Link is in a different timeline. I think
the
maybe
nosebleeds
from the future. The nosebleeds has something to do. I'm excited.
Or they're on a. I think I told you this. We may have recorded in an episode that haven't been aired yet. But the book that I was reading called Recursion.
Yes.
Recursion. It's by I want to say James Blake, but it's the same guy who created Black Matter, the show on Apple TV. We both highly recommend that show. And then he also wrote, that's a book, and then it became a TV show. And then Wayward Pines, he also wrote that as a series, and then the TV show.
And I saw the TV show.
And it's a lot of like time travel, multi-dimension, all of that. And this gives me Recursion vibes, which is allegedly supposed to be a show because Shonda pitched it to Netflix, but that was pre-strike, pre-pandemic, so who knows.
They probably send on that script somewhere, but I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Anyway, very fabulous show.
Yeah. So I'm excited for what's to come in Paradise. I'm excited to see, they also have an accompanying podcast that Sterling K. Brown's
I've been listening to the podcast.
Wife in Real Life, Ryan Michelle Bathe, is hosting, but she also has a role that's going to come up in season 2.
Oh, yeah. I did not know she was on season 2.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Oh,
and she's not, because people thought she was going to replace Terry and play his wife.
The wife?
And it's like, no, the same actress as his wife, but Ryan, his wife in real life, is playing a different role. I guess in the next 4 episodes.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
She's a good actress.
Yeah.
She's good.
She was in what's that BET Plus show?
First Wives
Club.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
And she was but they kind of replaced her season.
Yeah, and that show it was her show was good on was it ABC or Fox? It got canceled. But it was really good. I'm about to look it up. Endgame. The Endgame. It was like a thriller. It came out in 2022. You would like it, but it only had 1 season, so you're going to be upset. Prime. Yeah, the Endgame. And it was good. It was captivating. So yeah, I hate that.
Captivating, darling.
Yeah. And when I say captivating, I just mean I was watching it and never looked at my phone. So that could be a me thing, but
that means that
I was paying attention.
That gets harder and harder. Lots of good TV shows die because people don't know how to.
Yeah, or I binge it and
it's always the phone.
Yeah, or I binge it, forget about it, and then I'm like, oh, I watched that, but I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Let's get into today's topic.
Let's do it. What y'all came for.
Right. So first, let's kick it off. Today we want to talk about a little bit about the state of Black women in the workforce.
Lord, there's so much to say. So we're only going to focus on one thing at a time.
One very niche. But to get into it, I know, what was it, back in December, right before the new year?
Yeah, December.
You wrote a very raw and transparent piece about your experience with APA and your decision to resign and step back from your position in the organization. So let's kick off first with a little bit of an excerpt from that, and we'll link your Substack as well in the notes. But let's start off with...
Everybody got a Substack, including me. Yes, but yeah, I did resign from the American Planning Association National Board. I've been a member for a long time, since like 2013, 2012, something like that. I've been in a leadership position for a long time, but I just decided, with what's going on today and then also what we're seeing in our organizations, it was time for me to take a step back and start reevaluating. I'll read kind of the start of my essay, and then we can kind of get into it.
Cool.
Last week, I resigned from the National Board of the American Planning Association. I cried when I sent the email. And not the cute movie cry where your makeup stays intact and you dab a single tear. No, I cried an ugly, shoulder-shaking cry for almost 48 hours. The kind of cry that tells you your body has been tells you what your body has been holding, that your body has been holding a truth longer than your mouth has been willing to say it. Sorry, I had to get that out. I knew this moment might come long before it arrived. I felt it in the patterns, the shifting tone of meetings, the quiet ways I was being handled, but the actual breaking point came when I was drafting my response to the findings of the investigation into a misconduct complaint I filed, a complaint I only submitted after months of unanswered emails and ignored requests for accountability. So those are the first two paragraphs. Definitely go read it. I also wrote a follow-up essay about my feelings about our accreditation, AICP, where I'm AICP, I am a certified planner, and just thinking about the intersection of my womanhood, my blackness, accreditation, the business of accreditation, the business of institutions, and just our relationship to them as Black women. So that's what I've been writing about lately.
In the piece, you talked about you said you crossed the line where you were no longer reforming the system, but fighting for your right to speak inside of it. Tell me a little bit more about that. And then how were you able to recognize that line? Because I feel like people often recognize lines in hindsight, but in the thick of it, you're just trying to make things, trying to move things forward, trying to do the work that you came to do.
Yeah. I mean, we created this show in order to talk about the things that Black women often talk about amongst ourselves or interculturally, about what it's like to exist with multiple identities in one soul, in one body. And I think for me in APA and thinking about, what is the line for Black women when they know that they are being mistreated inside of a structure that they think they need? And I say think they need because there was a long time where, again, we get the certifications, we get the memberships, we get the identity that when we walk into rooms, it's we work twice as hard to make sure that people can't claim that we don't belong to be there, but also doing all of that takes labor, lots of invisible labor that people don't see, and it takes a toll on your mind, body, and spirit. And for me, especially over the last 2 years into APA and kind of now a second Trump era, I think it's exposed a lot of things in organizations that we all see, just like COVID did, where it kind of exacerbated the inequities that we already knew existed. I think this second Trump administration is doing the exact same thing, exacerbating exactly where we were the summer that George Floyd was murdered, right? Going back and saying, hey, all these institutions made these promises that they're not actually living up to interpersonally, but they say, that they have certain values. And I think for me, it was when I was physically getting sick and physically being emotional over the lack of ability to do what I know is best, and advocate for the people that I advocate for every day as a planner. And that's when I knew it was time to take a step back. Instead of doing the work, I was fighting for the ability to do the work, and that doesn't make sense. Yeah. And I think a lot of Black women end up there.
Yeah. Kind of the internal question of, what the fuck am I doing right now? Or kind of that just realization of, like you said, I'm fighting for the ability to work instead of fighting for the work. Which I feel like this podcast, self-proclaimed ambitious women, there's not an issue with having to do the work. Yeah, it's the issue of all of the roadblocks and still being expected to do the work, making it difficult, adding in more roadblocks to be able to do it. Another thing that really I related to in the piece was you described the shift from pet to threat as you gained power. What were some of the signals for you that you realized pet, threat? Kind of what was that?
Well, pet, threat. Well, I think it's a mix of, you know, when you're competent and you know what you do. Like, I'm good at what the fuck I do. Mm-hmm. That's not, I say that in a boardroom. Mm-hmm. I'll say that in a conversation with friends. When you are good at what you do, you know it because you see the fruits of your labor. Mm-hmm. And you see, you don't need people to tell you, you don't need awards, you know, you see it, mm-hmm. right? And so that's one thing I am firm and confident in, is my ability to make the impact that I desire. And I think in a pet to threat situation, whether it be in APA or in working spaces, and I'm sure you can also identify with this, is that you're smart, you're young, you can take on tasks. People are like, oh my God, this is great. Mm-hmm. Love your ideas. Let's do it. You climb up the ladder. Then you get to the point of the ladder where you're looking down at folks and saying, hey, follow my lead. Right? You're saying, this is the way to do the work. And the reason that I've gotten here, even surpassed you, is because I know how to do the work effectively. Mm-hmm. I know how to ground myself in my principles and my values, and that shine. Mm-hmm. And some people, especially people from non-marginalized groups, and I'm saying, like, especially when you look at a black woman opposed to a white woman, or white people, or people who are or just generally people who are threatened by that type of leadership. Yeah. That is effective, and then it affects how you then have to show up. You have to show up differently.
I love how you said that, threatened by effective leadership.
Threatened by effective leadership, and you have to show up differently. Yeah. And you have to, like, be on a different game, or you have to confront some of the issues that you have and contradictions that you have with what you say your values are versus how you live them. Yep. And black women leaders often wake that up in organizations. It could be work, like outside professional community, or in personal life. We often are the ones, the truth tellers, the people having to make really hard mm-hmm. decisions, have to bring up tough
speaking truth to power, saying the thing that no one wants to say, calling it out before it happens.
Exactly. I mean, as somebody who's very decorated within this field and has gotten countless AP awards, like I said, I'm a certified planner. None of those things give me personal value, but it does make me valuable in this infrastructure. And then, you know, and so then you go from, again, being the pet and being like, oh my God, we love everything you do, but not when it applies to us. Mm-hmm. And that's how you get to being a threat. Mm-hmm. I mean, have you ever experienced that, like, in your work life?
In every aspect. Most of the time I'm mm-hmm. telling people who are older than me, people who are more deficient in melanin than me, men, mm-hmm. telling them what to do. And that's, mm-hmm. I think for me, the kind of pet threat happened when earlier in my career, I was more of a execution role. So things that I need to do. So mm-hmm. my impact made other people's jobs easier or made it more efficient. So that was fine when I was telling you and reminding you to do something that benefited you. Mm-hmm. And also because most of the roles that I have, there's a lot of breadth of knowledge, whereas people I work with have very deep expertise, but it's siloed. So I have a different perspective. I see the whole system, whereas most people only see their job. So my opinion is more informed than most people, and I'm younger, and I'm all of those things that then it become a threat when I'm like,
and you have the nerve to be black and fabulous and not be ashamed, you know, and also confident.
Yes.
Yeah, those are all.
And to the point of whether it's certifications or credentials, I have my white man paperwork. The things that they care about, the Michigan and Duke engineering degrees, programs that they couldn't get, like all of these things start to play a part in that moment that it becomes a threat. Or I think we've talked about this too. I've been cursed with speaking with conviction. So a lot of things that I say, people take them more than what I intend. I'm like, I'm just saying, I'm saying a fact in a sentence. It's a period after this. You're taking it personal, or I'm critiquing your idea of a process. I'm not critiquing you. People may take it personal. So no, I've felt it, feel it.
And I feel like that's why I wanted to write this essay, because honestly, APA is niche. And almost irrelevant in some ways, and a lot of in the bigger scope of like what's happening in the world. And so to have so many black women and women of color and white women actually resonate with what I was saying, I think was very powerful for me, and letting me know that I mean, which I instinctually knew, is that I was not alone, and that these things are not like the pet to threat theory. It's not just something that people say. This is like an established, researched term of interpersonal behavior and bias, misogynoir, racism, white supremacy. Like, this is the context of the world that we live in, and calling out those behaviors is really important, especially in a time like now where we're seeing DEI being rolled back. And I use quotation marks because it's like, how can you roll back what exists? What is the objective truth, which is that the world is diverse
and it benefits
and
women.
You should include diverse perspective. When you include diverse perspectives,
you actually make more money. Like, your bottom line is actually increased.
But white supremacy doesn't work like that, right? And so it's like, even when you have a leader in front of you who's doing the work and trying to bring the organization along in a way that you say you want it to, it stops because your insecurity, white fragility, and the buy-in to the system that exists that benefits you right now, you're not willing to let go. And that is something I encountered at APA, but APA is not an anomaly. This is something that a lot of black women are facing in the organizations that they are in or affiliated with. And I think now is our moment to think, how are we going to show up differently?
Or even, I think, even in my experience, where if I'm in an organization that feels safe, is usually centered around women or people of color or black people. If I think of like NSBE, the National Society of Black Engineers, or a lot of the other engineering resource or tech groups that I may join the black ones, the women ones for the safety, but then the actual organizations where it's everyone, then knowing, like, going into that safety is not there, but also knowing, like, oh, this is why we created these separate spaces to begin with. But what happens when, and I don't know if this is the case for APA or things where you need accreditation or you need a credential for it, so you can't just say, I'll just go towards the more safer organization, or I'll get a certification where I, like, bypassing the ism.
Yeah, I think it depends. And I think in my second essay about AICP, that's the question I'm wrestling with, because you actually, I mean, to be a planner, I know it's different when you're an architect or you're an engineer. Obviously, we all have different certifications, and that you can be those things without certifications, but it limits the types of things you could do. Unlike architecture and engineering, you can be a planner and not be a certified planner and do perfectly well. Most of those people are white men. Again, like, because there is money to be made off of the fact that minority groups, specifically black women, have to deal with bias, therefore have to buy into your system and your certification in order to seem competent on paper. Just on paper. You haven't talked to me, you haven't done anything, you just see AICP behind my name. It makes it one less thing that somebody can knock you out for. And usually black women of color are often at the short end of the stick of that, and so we give it power in some ways. We are giving it power because we buy into it, because we know we want to be
a black tax almost. Let me do this.
Black tax,
let me do this so I can.
The white man paperwork is a black tax. And like, do we want to? There are some people who choose not to buy into it at all. There are people who come into it and then decide, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. And then there are people who decide to stick with it. And I think the more, I don't have an answer of what is right. What I'm saying is you have to do what's best for you. And now I am rethinking how I buy into certifications, into organizations, into institutions, and deciding, is that actually best for me? And that is the journey that I'm on, and I hope to be able to continue to share it with people.
If I was a mentee of yours and I was first year out of grad school as an urban planner and I'm a black woman, what would your advice, I know you said like do what's best for you, but what would your advice be? Like in the short term, if you're doing this in between 2026 2028, get it and then it reassess. Does it expire and you have to keep getting reaccredited, or is it just
you have to keep your certification up, and it's very fucking expensive.
Oh, okay. So
like I've paid a lot of money, and the reason that I was also in leadership in APA is because being
your money's
that
worth?
additional labor, you get reduced costs on like going to conferences or like being on the board. They pay for you to because even going to a conference, just the early bird special for a conference is about $800.
It's giving Afrotech.
That's not hotel. Yeah, that's not hotel. That's not food. That's not, doing anything fun. That's just being
able to walk into the room.
Any tours. Yeah, that's walking into the room.
Yeah,
and then you're and then AICP on top of that is about $1,000, something like that.
A year.
So it depends. Yes, because there is about that though. Yes. I pay a lot of money for this certification and to go to conferences. So like the additional labor of then being in leadership, which is a thankless job, right? Because we don't get paid to make decisions in the boardroom and what have you. That is the additional labor. So then you have all these women of color trying to say like, oh, I want to be in this space. I can't really afford it. I'm going to give you the extra labor. And the extra labor takes a mental toll on you because you're in this paradox of people who are tone deaf purposely. in a willful, echo chamber of themselves trying ignorance. To change things from the intern. So, either way, you're kind of dealing with the emotional labor that is often not talked about. So I would say, my essay begins and ends with, it depends. And there's a whole bunch of questions in between. I definitely would suggest people go read that essay. But it really does depend. What kind of planner do you want to be? And what do you see your future? I used to want to be HUD secretary. I think now in my life, almost 15 years into my career, I'm not interested in that anymore. Mostly because
even though you're qualified, even though you're qualified,
even more than qualified. Yeah. Oh, more than qualified.
Especially if we run the names.
Honestly, I can go resume for resume with anybody in the White House at this very fucking moment, including the president, and be more qualified. Oh, absolutely.
A high schooler who applies themselves can really.
And so, it just depends on what your aspirations are. But I think what I'm pushing myself to do and other Black women to do is to really think, is this something I was told or is this something that I actually feel? Yep. And to not do things because you're telling yourself a truth that is actually not true.
Yep.
And as long as you go into making those decisions with all of those facts and figures and not feeling like, well, I have to buy into this system in order to be successful, because you absolutely don't. I have lots of friends who are planners, badass Black women in the planning space, don't got no certifications. And some of them don't even have master's degrees. But everybody's journey is their own. So that is always my advice. It depends.
All right. In this moment, Black women are facing a convergence of pressures that are both economic and political. Over the last year, the national unemployment rate has climbed to its highest point in 4 years. Job growth has slowed. Federal employment has dropped by more than 300,000 positions, and the ripple effects are being felt across industries. But the data shows something even more concerning. Black women are bearing the greatest impact. According to the Economic Policy Institute, Black women experienced the largest employment losses in 2025, one of the steepest one-year declines in employment in the past 25 years. College-educated Black women and public sector workers have been among the hardest hit, particularly as federal layoffs and policy shifts have reshaped parts of the workforce where many Black professionals built their careers. Today, the unemployment rate for Black women has reached levels comparable to that of white women and what they experienced during the Great Recession. And nearly half report job insecurity or layoffs within the past year, which are higher than other racial or gender groups. Even in sectors like tech, where hundreds of thousands of jobs have been cut in recent years and months and weeks, analysts note that minority professionals, especially Black women, are often more vulnerable during these downturns. So when we talk about layoffs, economic uncertainty, and the future of work, the conversation can't be separated from race, gender, and policy.
It cannot. Yes. Thank you for reading that, because I think we all know it. Again, if you are a Black woman and you exist in this world, then you have
one Black friend.
Yeah, right. like, if you are in community, then you know that this has been a huge problem. I mean, if you're just looking at the world, at America's economy right now, there's so many people being laid off left and right, people losing their jobs. Costs are up on everything. Everything costs. You go outside, you spending $10 just to
it's $100 to breathe outside.
Yeah. And so, this has affected a lot of people, including you. So, I mean, in one of the parts of what you read, there's data showing hundreds of thousands of Black women were pushed out of the workforce in 2025. How do you process that collectively, like, while still protecting your own sense of personal worth and value?
Well, first I'll say I'm currently laid off right now, but this is my second one. So I was first laid off at the top of 2023, and I was unemployed for a year and a half, and then this one, I've been unemployed since November of 2025. I had like a notification period, so maybe August, November will average of that. So out of the past 5 years, I think I may have been employed for 2.5. And to your question of like the collective versus the individual, even reading the stats and all of that, even as a data person, I separate that from myself. So even when I'm reading this about Black women and saying the numbers and all of that, I separate that from my mind when I'm processing it, because if I read that and identify as a Black woman in reading it, I'll start replacing Black women with Dayna and start taking it personally. So it's almost like a psychological defense. And to your point, I know those things. I know anytime bad shit happens, marginalized people are going to be disproportionately impacted. We saw that in COVID. We saw that since the dawn of time. Yeah. So I don't need a standard deviation or a statistic to tell me that. All I need to know is shit is bad, and I can say, oh, it's going to be worse for me. It's going to be worse for this, or however that matrix and intersectionality work out. So I would say I'm separating the two. I realize that it's real because I'm feeling the effects of it. But really from an individual standpoint, trying to process my emotions around it. What does that mean for my career? What does that mean for my stability? What does that mean for, because I work in tech? So this is common. So it's not even my last role when I was at Wondery. The entire time that I was there, I didn't feel stable. Not that it had anything to do with the work or the people, but it was, this could happen again. This wall behind me has not been painted because I was too scared to paint my new apartment because I didn't know if I was going to get laid off again. And the mind fuck of that is I didn't paint the wall, and look at me, I got laid off again. So it's like and for someone who was born into stability, like that is a very foundational aspect of how can I ensure that I'm stable, almost like a self-care aspect of it. And when certain things in life, situations in life that I thought was stable, the rug is pulled under me as someone who likes to plan everything, as my Capricorn of Capricorns. It's very disorienting of how do I even, and I think we talked about this of like relinquishing control of things. While I don't consider myself no longer a control freak, I am a control enthusiast, and I like to have sight into the things that I can impact. And even now I feel like I could be doing everything right. I could, and it's not I would say too, there's never a thought that I'm incompetent or that this happened because I wasn't able to do my job. Like before I got laid off from Spotify, I had just got promoted. I had just got a raise. Like I was hitting all the metrics. So it's not even a thought of this is something that I did.
Do you understand, or how do you understand or reconcile with, obviously the tech industry is what it is.
Yeah.
The tech industry, especially over the last 5 to 6 years, have hired a whole bunch of people, laid a whole bunch of people out.
Yeah.
And that's the industry that you're in. And usually, like you said, as we both know, the people on the short end of that stick are Black women in the tech industry.
Yeah.
So like, does it ever give you the institution of the tech industry and how you aspirationally want to make impact? Do you also think about that? How maybe this industry, whenever it ebbs and flows, is always like kicking Black women out of it?
Yes. It's always a thought, but honestly, so I've been in tech for 9 years or so, but the environment is the exact same of being in college in engineering. It's dominated by white men who think that they know everything. So it's almost like I don't want to say I'm immune to it, because I'm not immune to it, but it's the devil that I know. It's familiar, and I'm never, me as a Black woman, and my identities are never considered in anything. But in the same way, and I don't know, is this my Kamala moment where I was like, I think I can make change in the inside, but then I'm starting to realize it's completely fucked. I don't have an answer for that. But I have seen benefit of me being there, making a difference on a personal level. So like, even in the midst of, and I would say too, the contrast of the layoffs are also very different. I say layoff 1 and layoff 2. Layoff 1 completely lacked care and the humanity of what was going on, versus layoff 2, it had that. So I would say I think about my impact on a personal level. Like, I would rather be there to be someone's manager, another Black woman or man manager or person of color, because if I'm not there, then no one's there. Especially in tech, especially in engineering. Those numbers dwindle greatly if it's I work in marketing at a tech company versus I'm in engineering at a tech company. So, and that controls, I think externally people will be very surprised by how much the products that we use every day and the ethics or diversity of it can be the difference of the right person just being in the room to say, this don't make no sense. So I remember even at Microsoft, on the Surface computer, being able to get facial recognition. I had to go and do demos and tell them the circle is too wide because it sees my hair, and so it sees me as a different person. You're making a circle for white men who never change their hair, and you only factor in glasses. My hoop earrings change, all these things for women. And I'm like, if I didn't use my lunch break to go to a demo or to go to a beta testing, just because I'm curious, you would have never known that. It's like, maybe if someone would have been around for the dryers in bathrooms that can't pick up melanin, it would have been different. But that's still an issue in 2026. But I digress.
And and it's like this tension that I want to name that I think you're facing and that I'm facing and lots of Black women face, is like doing what you love, understanding how important it is for you to be there, but then understanding also the harm that comes with being in that space. Like, even the fact that you had to take your lunch break. Again, it's the labor that is not factored in. It is the labor, it is the additional cost of what it means to be a Black person just existing in these spaces, where it's like, oh, I have to go above and beyond even to curtail or to right size what my industry or what my company is doing, because I have a different set of skills and a different POV that they don't honor or respect or value, and so like that kind of mind fuck, and then making that choice. When do we decide we want to be in it, and when do we decide, what, I'm just gonna make my own shit? And I think that is an important question for us to consider.
And I guess the silver lining in all of this was the first layoff was a year and a half, and I ended up moving back to Detroit with my parents. The second, or this current one, is 5-ish months, and I'm still in Brooklyn right now. But to your point, what this forced time away allowed me to do was to actually sit and process who I am outside of career and work. Because Dayna, in my 20s, I was 100%. my self-worth, my everything was interwoven into my job. It went from a high achieving student in school and worth being intertwined in that, boop, right into grad school, into work, into, everything that I do. And I think particularly for me, because I want my career and my life to align, to be in alignment. So I work in music, audio, and tech. That's also largely my personality, even if it's not at work. So to the point where even now, if I'm reading or doing something, even this, I'm produce podcasts. I work in podcasting. Yeah. So it allows that overlap. But there was a lot of workplace trauma that I never processed because I was always working. And the moment that I took a step back and kind of slowed down and was in a safe space, so even particularly being at my parents' house, that's when I realized like, oh, this is the opportune time for me to work through some shit that I wouldn't have the mental capacity, the emotional curiosity or capacity to dissect and work through. I think one of the biggest things I didn't realize when I got another job, so in 2024, was the trauma, the workplace trauma. I was like, oh, first day of work, I need to get back in therapy. I need to talk to that lady every single week because I'm in a safer environment, but I'm being triggered by things that are not actually happening. And I realized my new manager had texted me on the weekend to ask a question about a place in Atlanta. I said he should visit with his family because he was going there. And I had a panic attack because he was texting me on a Sunday. And I used to get texts from past managers of this, we need to do this, and he was just asking me, you said the Coca-Cola Museum, right? And I'm like, oh, everything is coming up and this is not the environment. It's not, my reality is not what's happening. Yeah, it's real. And having to work through that. Yes. And a lot of it was compounded over years of my work experience. So even to the original question of how are we working through that or even being able to process it, I didn't realize how fucked up it was until I actually stopped and realized, similar to like if you're run a race or doing something physical and your adrenaline is pumping, you don't realize, oh, Xavier in Paradise randomly, he didn't know he was stabbed until like, oh, look at that.
Right.
Wow.
You're in fight mode. And think about how many Black women are constantly in fight or flight mode as we enter our workspaces.
Yes.
And then we leave our workspaces and go into the world and we're in fight or flight mode. And then depending on how your home life is, you go home and you're in fight or flight mode. Yeah.
And to your point too, with the how you felt it with like getting sick, the alignment in my mind that so much of my physical ailments, my digestion issues, all of that was internal. I was in flight mode for so long that I was having internal issues. It also doesn't help that I process everything internally. So I implode inside during stress, all of that. So it's just
we are very similar.
Eternally turning internally to process it. And not realizing that until you can come up for air.
So considering all of this, considering kind of your posture right now, what you want for yourself, what you have been evaluating, what does building like parallel power look like for you? I know I've been asking myself the same question, like, do you create a space outside of this particular industry? Do you do something in combination? Like, what are you thinking?
It's a good question. And honestly, I finally have time to sit and think about it. Even when I was employed or trying to think of what I want to do, it's almost like my imagination was limited to my current state versus now and kind of at this moment in time. Even so many people now, especially Black women, I see it on LinkedIn. I have old coworkers who are building their own things, are saying, now I get to do this and I don't have to hold my tongue. I get to do whatever. For me, I'm a very intentional person. There's a lot of plans. But I think right now my vision is in parallel. So one, because we live in America, health insurance. So like I'm right. Health insurance, And couple,
the fact that health insurance is tied to your job, the pits, capitalism.
Yeah.
No way. Yeah.
But even, and this is, I feel like, Black woman planning, health insurance, I was also, since 2020, have been attempting to freeze my eggs. So when I turned 30, it has interrupted that because I haven't had consistent employment or have to move or go to different states. So now now these eggs are 36, still inside because I need health insurance. Unscrambled because I need health insurance.
Well, you want them scrambled, but they're unscrambled.
Yeah,
you want them scrambled, then fried. No,
scrambled and fertilized. But not all of them.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress.
Okay. Anyway.
So that is a play. So part of my plan includes that. Whereas if children wasn't something that I wanted, maybe I would think differently. Or if I was a man laid off, this wouldn't necessarily be a issue. So maybe this is part of the, because I'm single, because I haven't had children yet, like this is kind of my give and take versus I'm not stressed about a visa or a mortgage or things like that. So I would say in parallel, still wanting to be in tech, still in corporate, but then also I've also started my own business and consultancy. So thinking about what that looks like in the long term, how my corporate career, that my interests can all align up and be in parallel and play. So yeah, I would say now there's a lot of things. I'm excited. I'm scared, and I'm okay with being scared, of doing things for me, by me, and really having a different outlook on what does my career look like? What does the next phase look like? And also knowing like I'm in control of that. It's not a manager. It's not with this. Yeah. My corporate job is a tool. The number one is health insurance. The number two is, it's a tool. How can I utilize this? What can I get from this while still being impactful, doing whatever.
The insurance,
yes.
Whatever, the 401k.
And also as a leader in tech now and not fresh out of school, I want stock, equity, money. I don't want snacks. I don't want free pizza. Right. I don't even eat, I don't want a foosball table. No. Like I want stock. I especially working in tech in this hellhole where I'm going to get the stock because it benefits you, because the tech bros are in cahoots with the president. So it benefits.
Absolutely.
It's still.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's the irony of all of this. Do I have a direct deposit hits? No. Is my investments doing well?
Is the stock great? Fucking capital.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
I was about to say, yeah. So
you making your own shit. So
I'm making my own shit while extracting the benefit from other people's shit. And
which I think is the overarching lesson for our listeners is like, you get to choose.
Yes.
You are the master of your own fate.
Make it work for you.
Capitalism exists. We know this. Extract from the system what you can in order for you to feel stable, but also know you can make your own shit, and it's gonna be fabulous. Because remember, those institutions ain't shit without us.
Yeah, yeah. And we're at a time where you don't have to do it alone. Like you can make your own shit. Right. Yeah. I mean, we'll dive into it deeply, but with your Planner with a Purpose weekend. Yep. I'm available. Now I'm producing the podcast. It's like now we can do the same things.
Doing it, yeah,
yeah, and it's fun.
Really showing. So like for everybody out there, for Dayna and I, as we've been, we explained kind of where we were in December, how Dayna has kind of come into this process, how I have come into this process, and then like we're both making our own shit. Mm-hmm. And so there is a conference happening in Detroit, the National Planning Conference. I have decided to, which I had decided to do before I left APA, but now I'm like full force.
Put the battery in your back, yeah.
I actually want to create space outside of this conference, outside of this institution, to do exactly what Dayna just talked about. Looking across, looking up, looking down, and looking interculturally to find the people who are values aligned and to fellowship and to create resources for that group, because that is what I care about.
Yeah.
I care about making the changes, not fighting to defend why the changes need to be made.
Yeah.
And living by working across, I've gone to Dayna friends from college, people that I know who are also in this midst of what do we do? Do we buy in? Do we not? And we work together. So it's like, I need a photographer. I need somebody to do video. I need somebody to produce. I need speakers. I need this. Really going back to my village and being like, what can we do together? And I think it's kind of like the Issa Rae style.
Yeah,
of
networking across.
I think networking across is really important.
Yeah.
And I think we're in a time where we know we got to do that and show up more fully. And so Dayna and I are really excited to like tell you all more about this. We're going to do some podcasting. We're going to be doing some amazing conversations similar to this one, actually, across while we're partnering with some other Black-led podcasts in the industry. And so
our own,
take anything else. Make your own shit.
Our own shit, and then also using, because it's the weekend of NPC, so you'll have the audience there. So using something, an institution, to your benefit, but then also having your own thing. So this weekend, which I'm proud, excited that you're putting on, is yours with a plan and with a purpose. Our podcast collaboration, we're going to have a live podcasting taping. That's for my business with my producing and having all of that. So it's going to be kind of snowball and roll into what we're doing. So really creating a ecosystem and being able to plug in your friends and peers into your ecosystem.
Who are talented.
Because that's one thing we're not in short of.
Black women.
Talented Black people,
and people who know
especially in Detroit.
Especially in Detroit.
I love that we're, not to digress, but I love that we're doing that in Detroit too. Because even to the network and being able to help, it's no matter where I move, and I move every 6 business days, I will. My community in Detroit will always, it's my anchor location. It will always be there. So yeah, I'm excited, and the timing of this is in the midst of during this period of racial tension and social injustice. It's the perfect. it's the perfect timing.
We deserve to celebrate.
Yes,
we deserve to celebrate. April's going to be a very celebratory month for both of us, and just as Black women, again, where there's so much turmoil in the world. Leaning back into our villages, looking back into where we are from and who we are and the city that made us, and say we deserve joy and we will have joy even in the midst of chaos. And that's what we do. And so we'll see you April 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, all that. You'll see more information from us, but we're excited.
Running back. All right. To close out this conversation on Black women just trying to live, want to wrap up with a few reflection questions for both of us. So for you, what has this season revealed about what you actually value versus what you were conditioned to chase?
I value my joy over obligatory and convoluted requirements. And what I mean by that is that, when, as you said, you're an anxious student, you go from being a good student to being a good employee to being all these things, but to what end? If it's not to actually have joy and enjoy life, why are we doing it? And I've done so much work over the last few years to make sure I'm on that path. And I think this is just another step in that journey of like really disconnecting myself from these systems that I've been told to admire or feed into for some type of game that I will eventually have. But sometimes buying into the game is not actually all it's wrapped up to be, especially if it steals your joy and continues to create and perpetuate a system that I'm literally trying to break down. So that's what I feel like that's what I've been learning. Yeah, I choose joy.
Same.
And what would you say? Would you say the same?
Yeah, I would say, I think, like you said, this has been ongoing, but after and it's a process, but I feel like maybe the big chunks of decoupling my worth from my career, that has allowed me to realize, I feel like I quote Beyonce in every episode, but I was looking for something that lives inside me. Like, all of these things that I thought, to the point of the accreditations, I need to get promoted, I need to do this. Actually, I don't. Actually, I don't need these.
Actually, I don't.
I don't. I can use them to benefit me. But really everything that I need is in here, is inside, and it's really tapping into that, believing in that. I know even starting off entrepreneur, just thinking about what can my business look, how can it look, what can it offer, all of that. And I am the one that has the answer, leaning into that. And now conditioned to chase, I've untangled or decoupled external, specific to career, external validation. And now it's, am I living in purpose? Like, am I doing things that little Dayna would think was cool, or that would make little Dayna proud? Or from like a legacy perspective, like, what am I doing that's going to contribute and have lasting impact? I feel like that's top of mind too after watching Jesse Jackson's funeral, which was very Black.
It was
very black. But yes, I would say
down to having the timer for 2 minutes because niggas be talking too much.
But I mean, that's also, that's also how Aretha's funeral was, because I was in Detroit and I watched that Aretha's whole day. Whole day.
God, it was all day.
And
I like 12 hours.
Undivided attention. 15, 16 undivided attention. So shout out to Black American culture. Yes.
Yes, I think we need to, I will say this to kind of, as we end the episode, looking back at like history and thinking, how did Black folks get through this? I've been putting a lot of time into that. I was reading about Reconstruction, and then I got to the Harlem Renaissance, and just thinking about Alan Locke or all these different people who are like, Black is beautiful, make art for the sake of making art, not to prove your humanity. Like, make art that's beautiful. And I think about today, like Ryan Coogler and Sinners, and like how he just made art that was very Black.
Yes.
He was not trying to get a white audience. He made some shit for us, by us.
Yes.
And he has the most Oscar nominations.
Toni
didn't do it to get Oscar nominations.
Yeah, Toni Morrison talked about that. If you've ever seen the clip of her being interviewed by a white interviewer, of like, why don't you write about white people? Why don't you center white people? And she's like, you wouldn't ask a Russian author why he doesn't center the French, or why he doesn't center Mexicans. You wouldn't ask that. I write for me, and the people who I'm writing for will understand it because they are reflected in my writing. I feel like the Read first podcast, they were like, we don't do explanatory commas. I'm not explaining
anything.
Yes.
It's, if you don't get it.
Yeah. Just like when I said during a period of racial tension and social injustice, some niggas listening to this will know what that means. I'm not gonna explain it because I don't have to. And I think that's a way to operate as well.
Make your art.
100%.
That is to you.
One question for you too, because we're kind of talking about this before we give out our reflection question. What does self-preservation look like for ambitious women who still want to change the world? I think that's a lot of our listeners identify as ambitious women, because we're not saying we don't want to do anything. Is we want to have precision on our actions and have foresight on what we're doing. So how do you preserve?
To feel like shit while doing it.
Yeah. And not to get prematurely burnt out.
Yeah. I think for me, like in the example of this activation, where it's like, oh, I'm still working alongside and using the institution, but on my terms.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's more work because the institution that I used to have, I mean, the fees are so high because they have so much damn money, but they're not using their resources to help people like me anyway, even when we're in the system. So it's like, okay, I'm using my own money. I'm going out to raise money. It's harder work, but it's way more fulfilling because I am saying I am trying to make this activation free.
Yeah.
I want to make sure there are no barriers to getting access to it. I want to make sure that people feel seen. I want to make sure people feel heard. I want to make sure people feel loved on. I get to, again, collaborate with people that bring me joy and that are restorative. Again, it's not that it's not hard is that it's more fulfilling. And I think Black women in this moment, we know how to work hard, but why are we working hard to fill somebody else's pockets or to make somebody else look good? Let's work hard on our own terms using the resources that we know we can get and make it pop. And so that's why I feel like Black women right now, they're starting their own businesses. Some of y'all going back to school. God bless. People taking sabbaticals. Like, people are doing things on their own terms, and that's what I want to see Black women doing.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, it's maintaining a real, maintaining an authentic perspective on things. So sometimes in the past with career, I can get so caught up in what's going on that I don't kind of come up for air and realize, this is not actually that deep. And I feel like my layoffs allowed me to experience that. Small things of being around my family for extended periods of time, being able to see my little cousins grow up because they're young and I normally wouldn't be there. Just keeping the perspective of, I remember my dad, and shout out to my parents, because they have been, as a adultified kind of always been mature child, being able to be parented at my big age has been necessary and needed. But one of the things my dad said, because I called them like right my first layoff, like I got a meeting on my calendar Monday morning, I think I'm about to get laid off. And my mama was like, yes, you're about to get laid off or fired or whatever. And my dad was like, always remember, your key will always work. And that was a necessary in knowing, like, perspective. I can always go home. That is such a blessing. And that also changes my perspective on, it's almost like I need to do the biggest shit that I could do because I have the stability. So yeah.
Willed it. When you have those opportunities or you have those types of things.
For sure.
And that's how I feel right now, even being employed in an organization, where I just did layoffs, right? And like having to, it's like the understanding, like, I am privileged, I still have a job, how can I help other people? How can I work across? How can I lift other people up? And so that's, but also Black women, we think about things like that. About how we can use what we have at our disposal to help others. So
you care when you're impacting somebody and you're gonna change their life, like, what? You care what? Right. What? And I would say for people who do have to give layoffs, that could be the difference. I am, my first layoff, I found out from Business Insider article. They got it before Spotify told us. My second layoff, our CEO was on every single call showing her face to say, I am so sorry. I don't think she was supposed to say sorry. I don't think HR's tell her that, but she looked in that camera. She looked in that camera and said, I am so sorry. And that meant everything. Hopefully she didn't. Well, she was also getting laid off, so it don't really matter. But anyway. Oh, shit. Okay. Well, anyway, to close out on this topic, we want to leave a reflection question to the listeners. And this week, even coming off of, we mentioned Sinners, and the amazing, beautiful actress, and I don't want to mess up her name, Nigerian British Wumi Mosaku.
That sounds right.
Yeah, but she played Annie in Sinners. But this reflection question actually comes from a previous show on HBO, Lovecraft Country, which if you love Sinners, you will love Lovecraft Country. But in this show, which takes place in the 1950s in Chicago. But anyway, in episode 5 called Strange Case, Ruby is a Black woman who through magic is able to transfer and become a white woman, kind of a magic potion. And she realizes once she changes that life is so much easier simply because she's not constantly being interrupted by racism, sexism, the poverty at this point that came along intertwined with the racism. And in one of the scenes, when a white man leaves her money that she can basically have to go live life as a white woman for the day, and she never takes the money. And he asks her, like, why didn't you take the money? And she's like, the only currency that I needed was whiteness. And she says she doesn't know what's more difficult, being colored this happened in the 50s, being colored or being a woman. Most days she says that she's happy to be both, but the world keeps interrupting and she's tired of being interrupted. And since that episode aired, that has been a constant question of so many of these isms are interrupting my life as a Black woman. Yeah. Even if we draw back as Black Americans, slavery was an interruption to our history, right? It's not Black history, it's an interruption. You doing your work with APA, all of that was an interruption to what you were trying to do for all of APA, not just Black women, not just women. It's for everybody, to benefit everyone. Because also when you consider stuff for Black women, everyone will benefit from it. But anyway, interruption. These layoffs are literally an interruption to my career, to my personal life, to my financial goals, whatever. So I say all of that to say, if you could live a life that was not interrupted by these isms, by capitalism, by all of this, what would your life look like? What would it feel like? What would it smell like? How would it sound? And then once you picture that and using all of your imagination, how can, even through all this bullshit, you can still live that life? How can you get that? Yeah. And I think that is what I'm like, my call to action for myself to continue to figure out, and then also continue to live out, not just let it be a fun little imagination exercise, but to actually live that out, knowing that the interruptions are going to happen, but not letting them impact as interruptions, and overwhelm and change who you are. So I will leave on that note, and let us know, what does life look like?
What does life look like without the interruptions?
Without the interruptions, the interruption of everything. Shout out to Terry McMillan. I think that's her book. All right, we will have more. Stay tuned for more about A Planner with a Purpose weekend. Yeah, the collaboration. You'll see more on our feed, cross collaborations for podcasting for the weekend as well. And we're, again, continuing to give you all content, thought-provoking questions. I know we post every bi-weekly. That's what we say. But we explain we have a lot of shit going on right now. Yes. So follow us on socials. Yeah, follow us on socials. And we may take a little time, but we're still here. Okay.
We're still here.
And with that, we'll see you. Oh, side note, her interview with Angie Martinez, amazing.
Oh, I heard it's really good.
Tisha Campbell and Angie Martinez. And that song means so much more now. Like, I know we kind of joke about it, but it hits, and now I'm with her because she is still here. So check out the interview of Angie Martinez IRL. I'm still here. And listen to Jill Scott. Grab my meat.
Oh, Lord.
All right. Goodbye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
This episode was produced by us and edited by Dayna Cole. Our theme music is the track Same by Ricky Ells. Be sure to check it out on all streaming platforms. For questions, comments, feedback, or topic suggestions, hit us up at queentonepod@gmail.com. Be sure to also check us out and follow on Instagram and Twitter @queentonepod. Thanks for listening.